AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I don't understand Democrats. I am truly confused about why Democrats do what they do. So yesterday, obviously, we know that Trump has been getting the budget together. And one of the things that happened before Trump even took office was they did a temporary solution for making sure that we keep the government funded and we keep the offices open by basically not doing a full year budget, but they basically did a temporary budget that allowed for us to continue to, keep the government open, keep workers working and payroll going and all of that stuff, military funded and everything, right? And so yesterday, basically what happened was Republicans had to band together, which is one of the reasons why we needed to control all three branches of government. They had to band together, and I think that they passed it like 217 to 215, all Republicans except for one. And none of the Democrats actually voted for Trump's bill. And I don't know if they did it as a form of solidarity. I don't know if they did it because, they was just against Trump or whatever. Two of the things that were very important that was in that it's not the actual budget itself, it's the framework, right? It's basically the framework for them to be able to push it through over into other branches of government so that we can eventually get a budget together and vote on it. But the framework of it was basically tax cuts for everyday people. Now, this is one of the things that the Bernie Sanders of the world and the AOCs and the Jasmine Crockett, they want money to go for the people. And again, they're so hell-bent on not liking Trump and not trying to support anything that he does that they're basically showing their hand. They're showing you that it's less about the people and it's more about who their ops are. They're just like one big gang in Congress. And the way that you know this is the biggest things that was in it was even things that Kamala Harris copied from Trump. No tax on tips and no tax on overtime.
See, this is why I don't like this Shoeshine boy, because he's either disingenuous, bold-faced lying to the people that follow him, or he's misinformed. He is trying to say that the Democrats didn't vote for this resolution, this bill, to fund the government because Democrats don't want to support overtime pay or no taxes on tips, which is a bold-faced lie. The reason why they didn't, the Democrats, 100% of them didn't want to vote for this resolution because it's going to gut Medicaid, it's going to gut SNAP, it's going to gut programs that would help needy people. That's the reason why 100% of the Democrats didn't vote for this bill, this resolution. Also, it almost didn't pass. It almost didn't even go to a vote because there were many Republicans who wanted to gut it even more, and so they were unwilling to go and try to get this resolution bill passed. So it was a lot of the Republicans that didn't even want to vote on it. And now, see here, this is what Anton Shoeshine Boy Daniels won't tell you. It says House passes GOP budget, teeing up enormous tax and spending cuts. The vote cleared the way to enact major elements of President Trump's domestic agenda and escalated a bitter fight among Republicans over what federal programs to shrink to finance major tax cuts. It says here the House on Tuesday narrowly passed a Republican budget resolution that calls for $4.5 trillion in tax cuts and a $2 trillion reduction in federal spending over a decade, clearing the way for major elements of President Trump's domestic agenda. The nearly party line vote of 217 to 215 teed up a bitter fight within the GOP over which federal programs to slash to partially finance a huge tax cut that would provide its biggest benefits to rich Americans. You remember Shoeshine Boy Daniel tried to say for all Americans? I'm going to read that again. The nearly party line vote of 217 to 215 teed up a bitter fight within the GOP over which federal programs to partially finance a huge tax cut that would provide its biggest benefits to rich Americans. It came after a head-spinning hour in which Republican leaders tried to put down a revolt among conservatives who wanted deeper spending cuts, failed to do so, called the budget vote, and then reversed course minutes later and summoned lawmakers to call the roll. The chaotic scene underscored the unwieldy path House Republicans have ahead of them to try to push through Mr. Trump's domestic policy agenda through Congress over objections of Democrats. Now, let me read this one part to you guys here. It says here, the blueprint sets the contours for the legislation that House Republicans will now turn to writing. It puts $4.5 trillion upper limit on the size of any tax cuts over the next 10 years, but does not dictate which taxes should be reduced. A complex and politically tricky question of its own that could take months to sort out. It also calls for slashing $2 trillion in spending over the same period, without specifying which programs should be cut. Though top Republicans have targeted Medicaid and food aid programs. This is the reason why the Democrats, 100% of them, didn't vote for this resolution. Because it also calls for slashing $2 trillion in spending over the same period, without specifying which program should be cut. Though top Republicans have targeted Medicaid and food aid programs for poor Americans. Why didn't Anton Shoeshine Boy Daniels tell you that? And it directs increases of about $300 billion for border enforcement and defense programs, alongside a $4 trillion increase in the debt limit. Why didn't Shoeshine Boy Daniels tell you that? Because either he's misinformed or he's bold-faced lying to the people that follow his channel. Here is from the New York Times. House passes GOP budget teeing up enormous tax and spending cuts. Go check it out. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for coming back to the Black Only News and Entertainment Network, where you will hear all of the news from people like Anton Shoeshine Boy Daniels. Come over here to get the truth. Peace, y'all. Take care and be safe.